Hi there, this is Lingzi. I used to be a student in the King's College London, majored in public policy, especially focused on the Chinese cultural policy and nationalism as my research area. I'm here today with my work, From Subculture to the Mass Culture, how Hanfu became a focus of the Chinese cultural policy under Xi's administration. So today my content will be divided into four parts. What is Hanfu, Chinese cultural policy, the factor influenced, and the new political world code. So firstly, let me give you some background knowledge as the starter. What is Hanfu? For most of my audience who is not Chinese or not research among Hanfu, this word might be not familiar to you. Short enough, it is the traditional ethnic clothing of the Han ethnic group in China. Maybe the pictures could help you better. So just like Tibetan wrote for Tibetan, Mongolia wrote for Mongolia. However, Hanfu is considered as a traditional clothing of 90% of the Chinese population, but it has gone through the process of the repopularized as a subculture, especially upon the younger groups since 2013. Instead of being traditional adequate since the Asian time, just like other Asian traditional clothing. However, now Hanfu have been admitted by the Chinese government and received massive support and promotion endorsed by the Chinese government. Instead of a subculture, Hanfu have gradually grown into a mass culture. But what is the background of the environment that recently supported and development of the Hanfu? We must speak of the cultural policy, especially under Xi Jinping's administration. So previous leaders, including Hu Jintao, Jiang Zemin during 16th, 17th National People's Congress, also made repeated references to the culture, 文化. During Hu Jintao's tenure, cultural development primarily referred to the establishment of the spiritual civilization in contrast to the material civilization. It was perceived as a cultural deficiency that needed to promote rectification to achieve the balance and the comprehensive development amidst rapid economic progress. This broad notion of the cultural emphasizing non-utilitarian cultural forms as a counterpart to material civilization. However, during the era of the Xi Jinping cultural policy and the concept of the culture underwent significant change. The Xi's administration displays a heightened attention to the cultural development, building upon the three self-confidence. Cultural confidence was added. Moreover, Xi Jinping thought conferred a more specific meaning to the term culture, which clearly focused on the traditional culture. It depicted the cultural development during Xi Jinping's tenure having a clear developmental purpose. The slogan of the Great Rejuvenation was initially introduced by Jiang Zemin, and 10 years later, Xi Jinping further proposed the concept of the Chinese Dream as a Chinese paramount political leader. Within three national congress, the frequency of mentioning culture has increased from 9 to 73 times. For traditional culture, within have increase from none to 9 times. Hence, based on such cultural policy, background have achieved its revival and repopularity. However, such phenomena of Hanfu might reflect the Chinese cultural policy influenced by several factors. I'm here categorize them as three: public sentiment, market demand response, and the Chinese global reputation. So public policy. As Hanfu gradually became a hot topic among the younger generation, such subculture has attracted more and more audience participators, especially under the context of the governmental promoting Hanfu have been accepted and incorporated into Chinese mainstream force. Youngers might be attracted by the aesthetic design, the identity empowerment, the subculture's uniqueness, etc., etc. Apparently, Chinese government could perceive the social sentiment with various methods and projecting those public opinion in the determination of the cultural policy. For instance, Hanfu has increasingly become a prominent topic of the discussion at the People's Congress and the political consultative conferences, which have gained attention within the central government, and it has been addressed on the highest level public opinion survey platform in China. However, it is important to note that the specific proposal from the Chinese People's Congress, as well as their adoption or implementation, are not publicly accessible on any open platform. Therefore, the transparency and reliability of the channel for collecting public opinion still requires further discussion and verification. And matched with the rapid development of the Chinese economic market, the cultural policy also reflected certain market demand and response. The interest of the governmental, especially local government, can be observed in three aspects within the booming industry. Firstly, the substantial market demand and the job opportunity created by the industry contributed to the local economic development and increased income for the residents. Secondly, the development of the Hanfu industry can support the growth of the local cultural tourism. For instance, Xitang is a place in Zhejiang province. Various Hanfu-related events, cultural festival, and local market cluster were organized to promote the tourism, stimulate the local economy and the cultural development. Thirdly, vigorous growth of the Hanfu industry can lead to the increased tax revenue for local governments, enabling them to have more flexible fiscal budget. And of course, the global reputation. The recent revival of Hanfu within the last decades can be attributed to the economic, social, and political factors within the globalization playing a significant role. While the globalization has brought reduced individuals' reliance on the community and the organizations, it has also led to an individual identity crisis and unstable social relations. Building on the globalization, particularly the cultural globalization, facilitated by the rapid growth of the internet, younger people have been exposed to the diverse range of the global culture. In this globalized environment, Hanfu has helped young individuals differentiate themselves from the others, so making it an important vehicle for resisting the globalization and reclaiming the cultural identity. Moreover, the Chinese government seeks a strong and stable cultural symbol to exert soft power. Hanfu, being relatively mild and depoliticalized, can simultaneously influence domestic citizens and serve as a symbol of the cultural export globally. So hence, as the conclusion of my work, here I argue that the cultural phenomenon among the revival of the Hanfu, reflecting that the Chinese cultural policy influenced by the market, the global image, reputation, and the most important one, the society and the public. Hanfu has a typical symbol of the Chinese traditional culture and young subculture, which worth more attention and research from both academia and the government. I personally also seeking for new opportunities to further deepen on my research on Hanfu and the political metaphor and the meaning behind it. I believe that there's a new form of political conversation, confrontation, and government structure that is more mild, depoliticalized, and commercialized, which represent the evolution and vitality of the political situation in current modernization process that could be achieved within such cultural touch. Hanfu is a great physical specimen of such cultural carrier. So Hanfu have been popular for decades, and discussing Hanfu and its popular context. Namely, globalization seems a little bit outdated, but Hanfu is gradually became an important way for China to deconstructing the globalization by opposing Western discourse. So now it is the best time to talk about Hanfu, about the Chinese cultural policy, about the Chinese soft power, and about the ebb of the globalization. Thanks for the watching. If you got any question, please contact me without any hesitation. Here is my email address. Thanks very much.